then we have with us an eminent and dignified personality, Mr. Satish Kamrat. He has done PGDM from FMSIRM in the year 2002. Currently, he is working in data analytics and business intelligence area in AXA Health, the second biggest health insurance company in UK. Welcome, sir. Last but not the least, we have a scholaristic personality here with us, Mr. Gaurav Sabu. He is our alumnus from 2003 batch. Sir is a CA, a CS, and a PGDM from FMSI. He has more than 16 years of experience as a finance controller at various levels in various organizations. It's a matter of privilege and proud and happiness for all of us to be associated with you all. I would like to now hand it over to Dr. Tarjini Goyal, Deputy Director of FMSIRM, to further proceed with the meeting. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much for the introduction of all the eminent speakers, and moreover, I will once again welcome you all to your own institute, your own home. I must say it is good afternoon, good morning, and good evening for some of us, as we are all there in different parts of the world. I'm delighted with the august presence of the illuminous alumnus of IRM. And I'm really very much thankful for you people to strengthen this bond. That because it's because of you people that you are strengthening this bond and taking IRM to new heights. And I would like to share that this is the third alumni talk series in this particular month that we are organizing. I'm very happy to share that. And it's just because of you people that we have been connected again. So I am sure that this situation of pandemic has brought different experiences to different people. And your experience, I think, will guide the resilience during the and will build the resilience during the pandemic. I think without wasting a single minute, I would share one more thing that I like to bring in here is that we have divided this particular slot into two parts. As in, first part would be moreover where their life sharing experiences by the eminent speakers would be there, and secondly would be how you can build upon the resilience. The questions are most welcome anytime. You can just raise your hand. The students present here, the faculty members, anyone can just raise their hand and can ask them the questions. They are your alumni. I think you would be interacting with them in a better manner. So without wasting a single minute, I'll just invite Dr. Gopal Iyer for the introductory address.
Thanks, Rajini. Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. I've just kept a stopwatch with me so that I'm keeping a tab of the time, because I'm the one who ends up speaking more, and it's a tendency for people like me who are chatterboxes. So I'm just taking the liberty to share my screen with you guys. I've just made a small slide, which I think yeah. So this is about me. This is can you all see my screen now?
Yeah,
so that's about my screen. I mean, that's about my life. Started my undergraduation. It was my foundational learning in management. I did my BBA from Saurashtra University, and then came on to IRM, wherein I cemented my thoughts on management. In fact, most of the basic lessons of my management career were actually strengthened at this place. Post my MBA, I thought of making a career in selling finances in mutual funds, and thanks to my friend Gaurav Sabu, who was always behind me. So I started a career in financial selling, but then I quickly realized that I'm not cut out for that. So I stopped that, and so there is a graph that you could see that keeps on moving, and it was always like that. But one thing that was certain in my mind was that I wanted to do a doctoral studies at any point of my time in my career. Dr. Iyer lagana tha apne career mein. So that was always certain. I mean, after a year, when I realized that it was not my cup of tea, I worked with some of the leading educational consulting firms, as it was introduced, So educational initiatives, that was a diagnostic firm. We did a lot of diagnostic testing, large scale testing with children. Exceed, the World Bank and the Exceed and the World Bank were the places wherein I learned more about assessments. And a majority of my work across my career was trying to understand the science of student learning, so I did that. And at AC Nielsen,
I think your audio broke. Dropped in. Dr.
Is
Gopal,
Gopal there?
I think we dropped the audio from Dr. Gopal. Is he here? Dr. Gopal?
Seems he dropped out.
Yeah, I think I'll wait for him for a minute. Yeah, I think we can proceed with the use of Ms. Silvani for that purpose. In the meanwhile, he's joining us. Ms. Silvani?
Sure. Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, great. So, hi, and great to be here amongst the brightest batchmates that I had ever. And good to be sharing the panel with them. Just wanted to kind of introduce myself, and I work with the Confederation of Indian Industry, and as Ruchi introduced me as, that I'm like leading the vertical, which is called the Development Initiatives vertical within CII. My journey began right after I got placed from IIRM only, thankfully. So I got placed with an organization called CAPAT, Council for Advancement of People's Action in Rural Technology, which was basically a fellowship program by the Ministry of Rural Development. And I worked for 3 years in the rural heartlands of West Bengal. And after 3 years, wherein I worked with the self-help group, women self-help groups, in helping their livelihoods and marketing opportunities. After that, I moved on to CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, and I have been there for the past 12 years. You can say that there wasn't much job jumps that I did, given the fact that I think I loved what I was doing there in CII and the opportunity it gave me. It's an organization which provides a very broad kind of a canvas to work on. And also the fact that within CII, I could change my work area with every 2 years. And so there was no stagnation, to be honest. So when I joined CII, I joined there as an executive officer, and I've been working on different sectors, which is women empowerment, rural development, corporate social responsibility, disabilities, empowerment of persons with disabilities, disaster management. And the work what I do presently is I think Gopal is back. So would you like to have Gopal back into the conversation, or how do you want to do it?
Fine, Sharmani, go on, go on. It was a glitch at my end. Please go on with that.
Not okay. Thanks so much, Gopal. Just wanted to kind of let you all know that what I'm doing presently. To put it simply, one is that I work with the government when it on policy advocacy. So basically, the legislations and laws that you see, especially around industry's engagement in the social sector. So I work very closely with the government in ensuring that they provide an enabling kind of laws which can help the companies in India to contribute towards social development. So in very simple words, that's what I do. The second piece that I work on is also advocacy with companies across the country to kind of make them understand how important their role is in the society, and their contribution matters a lot. So that is what I work on. The third piece that I'm working on is diversity and inclusion. It is a topic very close to my heart. So basically what we understand is there are different laws, different regulations, and companies need to be very, very open when it comes to having a very diverse and inclusive workforce. So I kind of try to push them to do that. So it's advocacy that I do. Now, along with that, what I'm doing is that CII, our Confederation of Indian Industry, they have set up a trust, which is like an NGO. And it is called CII Foundation. So I played a very strong and instrumental role in setting up that foundation. And now I head their compliance, their governance piece as well, which includes finance and communication. So I'm happy to meet Gaurav actually, because I'll be turning back to him now that we are reconnected from time to time when I need to take any advice when it comes to finance. So yes, that's my role presently. And over to you.
I think because of the technical glitch, Dr. Gopal just dropped out. So if you would like to continue, sir.
Right, sure. I'm just checking that Gautam is trying to join us. But
Yes,
I joined.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. I mean, how much of that could you hear? I didn't know that. I mean, when I got disconnected. So was it everything that was? Otherwise, I'll just ask other members to give their introduction. My introduction was already there, so we don't want to waste time on introductions. Gautam, have you spoken? Gautam and Gaurav?
Not yet.
Yeah, so let Gautam, Gaurav, and Satish go on, and then for the interest of time, I think I'll ask Gautam and Satish and Gaurav to go on first.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you, Gautam.
Okay, perfect. I'll go for a quick one because I know we lost some time because of technical glitch. Again, Gautam Bhattacharya, really a pleasure to meet all of you, and it's great to see after 17 years some of our batchmates are meeting together, which is such a pleasure. What's my job? My job is to really deal with uncertainties every day because I work in R&D. And when you are an innovator, the first thing you do is basically look at uncertainties and what can you learn, right? How can you learn from failures and move on? So I head the R&D organization for Procter & Gamble Asia. I'm based out of Beijing. I'm the only Chinese, Indian based in China for the last 14 years, so I survived. And my job is to really take the consumer insights, right? To understand what consumer needs are, what are the unmet needs. And once you knew, what are the unmet needs, how you translate the unmet needs into an innovation that drives the category growth, that drives basically the business growth. So that's what I do on a daily basis. And I'll pause here and just, hand over to my next panelist for their introduction.
Satish, do you want to go?
Yep, shall I go ahead? Yep, okay.
Yep.
So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this Antimony talk. So my name is Satish Kamprath. I passed out in the same batch as Gopal and all other panelists in year 2001, 2003. So I started my career with Thomson Reuters as a research analyst in Bangalore, then moved on to Tata Consultancy Services and then to AXA India. Initially, it's a global contact center for AXA. It's an insurance and investment company based in France. Then around 10, 11 years back, I moved to AXA UK, and I've been there in the business intelligence and analytics area since then. So that's a brief introduction about myself. Shall I now Paul
Great.
to join?
Gaurav, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Myself, Gaurav Sabu. Same batch, 2001, 2003. I'm a finance guy, practically doing just, accounting and compliances for different companies over the years. I've worked with different companies like IFB, Dalmia Cement, so Media, Hindustan Times. So nothing much, just making accounts and ensuring compliances for the companies, helping them to reduce their costs and to manage the cash flow in difficult situations whenever the company comes in. So this is all about me.
Yeah, great. Actually, all the students have been looking really for the introductory part, and thank you so much for the quick introduction. Over to Dr. Gopal for the further part of it.
Gopal, are you there?
Hey, Gopal, are you there? We can't hear
I think
you.
Gopal, you're
got
on mute.
dropped out.
Unmute
Oh, I
again.
can see him.
I don't know why it keeps dropping. I mean, it's an important day, and probably that's the reason why all technical glitches come in. But it's okay. I mean, that's a part and parcel of life, I mean, what's going on?
We have to deal with the uncertainties, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way that you deal with uncertainties. Gaurav gave a very simple introduction of his. He makes life simpler for everyone because he's the finance guy. But yes, Gautam, you're right. Life is all about uncertainties. So I'm just going to go to the second part of our presentation and especially about the life lessons part. I'm just taking the liberty to share my screen here again. Just a second. Yes. Hopefully now it doesn't go away. So just life learnings and probably other panel members can add on to what is here. There are 6 life lessons that I think it's very important that I learned across my life. One is basically to all the current students who are studying and who recently graduated. First is, define what you want to accomplish in life. एक मिशन ले लीजिए अपने लाइफ में कि करना क्या है यार बॉस, and that's very important. I'm not going to touch upon all of them again, but what obviously you have to draw a timeline, you have to build networks, and I would like other members to add on that. But the most important thing that I learned in my life is learn to fail. That's very important. I have 2 hashtags. If you're on Twitter, just tweet it. Failure is the new fashion and failure is not fatal. I'm going to say 2 stories around it. One is when I joined my PhD, I applied for 5 schools, Oxford, Cambridge, Newcastle, LKYSSP, the Luke Wong School of Public Policy, and MIT. And I got rejected from all of them in 2013. Got rejected for all of them. And started thinking about why I failed. I mean, you had all the credibilities in your CV. You had worked with some good consulting organizations. You worked with the World Bank. What is going on? And then I took it to my mentor, who again scrapped my whole research proposal and threw my research proposal in the bin. And then in 2014, I revamped my research proposal. Tried for 2 schools, the LKYSSP and the Newcastle, because Newcastle is always a place where I wanted. And it's a mecca for low-cost private schooling, where Professor James Tooley and Dr. Pauline Dixon head this whole department of low-cost private schooling, and I got through. So my main message to you guys is that, fail as much as you want. And that's going to be, and don't get hesitated by not failing. Fail hona seekho. The second thing was when I was submitting my ethics. Ethics is a big ethics is a big part of your research proposal. It got rejected 7 times. My ethics proposal got rejected 7 times, saying that, because I was working with children, I was working with schools, they said that it is not in the language that you want. So I learned that, framing up things in the language that people want to hear was very important. So that was my second failure. The 8th time they accepted my ethics proposal, and I got my PhD. Work smart, गधा भी काम करता है, घोड़ा भी काम करता है यार, लेकिन गधों की तरह काम मत करो, घोड़ों की तरह काम करो, थोड़ा smart बनो. And the last thing is the 3P and the 3D formula that I want to share with you is patience, perseverance, and positive attitude. Be patient in life. Everything is not going to, come in a platter. Have a positive attitude towards life, and perseverance. During these tumultuous times, during these times of adversity, please have the perseverance and be dedicated, determined, and devoted towards your work. So these are some of the 6 life lessons with a story on failure, which is the highlight. And I'll speak as other panelists go on. But I'll just invite other panelists if they want to, open the session of on any of these points, or if there are any things that they might also want to share from their life experiences. Anyone can go ahead.
I think, yeah,
Gaurav, Satish. I can share the screen if you want pointers, but I'm okay if you don't. I can stop sharing the screen as well.
Can we have your views, Mr. Gautam? Your life learning.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, I work in R&D. So for me, failure is a daily part of my job. And that's what I told in my introduction that, when you work as an innovator, the first thing is you need to focus on the learning, because learning is what is going to be the gain of any experiment. Whether you pass or fail, it matters, but it doesn't matter actually. Because if you learn, then you know what you can do differently the next time, and how you need to pivot your plans, because it's very important you don't stick to one particular plan and hope that it's going to be successful. So you need to consider a plan B and a plan C and a plan D in most of the cases, because that you'll get some learning and you'll basically sharpen your plan for the next experiment. You do it differently, you get a different result, analyze the data and move on. So I think that's really key. Let me share one of my example. When I was hired by Procter & Gamble in 2007, I came with 9 years industry experience. So of course, the management has a lot of expectation. They gave me a very complex project that I have to deliver within 3 months of joining. And P&G, normally 6 months is your probation period. So, company tests you that, can you deliver what company needs from you, and are you a fit for the company? Now the project was very, very complex, but management had a very high confidence the project can be delivered, the technology is ready. And they invested thousands of dollars for last several years with many resources to deliver the project, but it was not, seeing the light of the day. And as I took the project, I had a hypothesis, and it was a wrong hypothesis, which I, proved to myself after some months of work that, okay, all the data showing that this project and this technology is never going to be successful because the industry is not ready. The consumers are not going to pay for that experience and that innovation. So whatever trials I ran in the P&G plant, the suppliers, all were failure. And I had to go for my management review, which was just, 3rd month in the organization. And management hired me with 9 years experience. They know that, this guy is going to deliver. And my recommendation to management was that you stop the project because it's not going to give you any result. One, the industry is not ready. The consumers are not going to pay for the experience. And the material and the innovations have not led to any success. But in my review, really, what I focused on is what we learned. And those learnings are going to tell us that how we need to tailor our plan for the innovations, which is going to make our business successful in the next 3 to 5 years. And the way you need to articulate that is basically what risk do you have if you go with the wrong technology and a wrong assumption in the market and you fail in the market, because the cost of the brand and the cost of reputation for the company is much higher than the investment that you have done to push a wrong platform at a wrong time for the wrong industry and the wrong country and the wrong market actually. So I think it's really, really important when you work in R&D or even in life, you be very, very clear what you specifically want to achieve, what your success criteria are. and get that alignment done very clearly with your management, with your peers, or even with your subordinates. Everyone knows the process is transparent, and you have written down, okay, if my plan A fails, what can I learn so that I move on to plan B with a different, learning milestones. If my plan B fails, how do I move to plan C and what I need to learn there? And basically articulate the risk for your management that, hey, if I fail, early, my risk is less. But if I fail late, then my risk is much higher, and going to market and failing big in the market is not a thing that a big brand owner or any company, as a matter of fact, would like to do, right? So when I look at my failures, of course, many failures that I have in R&D, which you often encounter, I think critical is to understand what are the safety margins that you have. Because when you fail, you shouldn't fail at a time when you're supposed to launch a product 1 month from the market. That's a wrong time to fail, and especially if you don't have a time to run a plan B and plan C. So it's critical that you really align with your management at what time, what kind of risk evaluation you want to do. So you know that, okay, if you fail early, how can you pivot your plan? How can you change your plan? And as you go closer to the market, do you have all the robustness? Do you have all the integrity of the data? And do you have all the support that you need, basically, to say, okay, now we are very close to the launch. If I fail now, what happens, right? What's the consequence to the company? I think that's really fundamental. So these are my simple tips. Again, not to make it complicated. Whenever you're planning for something, prepare yourself for the failure, because failure comes uncertain. It comes unexpectedly. But if you have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D in place, then you know that, okay, if you have a fail, you're not shocked. You know what have you learned from the experience, and what basically you're going to do differently with your plan B and plan C, because it prepares yourself, right? And then you articulate the risk. What would be the consequence if you fail, right? Is it going to be a cost of reputation for the company? Is it going to be a cost of the project being shelved or stopped? Or is it going to be a consequence to your career? So just be very clear about the consequences and get the right support needed, because I think it's really important when you take risky projects and risky undertakings in life, as well as in projects or in companies or in careers. You need to really have that support system in place, so that if you fail, no one blames you. And you be very clear that, hey, if I fail, this is the learning that I have. So once you keep learning on your focus, then the past fail is just a milestone, and you'll pass by on that phase. I'll pause here and give it to my next fellow mates.
Seriously, a great thought and a great learning. I think that's the best learning tip that the students can have at this point of time. I would request Mr. Satish if he can share his views on this.
Yeah, sure. So there will be some common themes you will hear across all of us, and it's something which we kind of hear a lot, but that's very relevant. One of the things Gopal and Gautam said, the thing which I learned is never stop learning. So and from somebody as a fresher, if you are joining a new company, what my tip will be, try to learn not only about your role, have an understanding of what the company does, and what are the other departments doing, how the market is performing, and things like that. So not restricting yourself to the role which you are being given to you and the work you are doing. Expand your horizons and learning new techniques, new tapes, and things like that. That really helps. Just to give us a very simple example, from my end, once I learned how to operate a printer to scan and email one of the document. And once it helped me, because one of the senior directors, as a very junior officer, I was working in my company late, and secretary has gone. He was trying to scan something, and he didn't know how to do that. And so he was a bit hesitant, and then he came and asked me, "Do you know how to do this? How to operate this machine?" So those kind of things, which helps in breaking the ice and creating a network and interacting with people. So one of the learning is, never stop learning. Second, I would add on is being a good team player when you're working in a company. There will be lone wolves, who kind of works alone but then when you are looking at some big projects, you need a different perspective to succeed. And also companies also will be looking for people who can fit in harmoniously. They also doesn't want a conflict to arise, because that's a drain on the employees' productivity and things like that. So being a good team player, that's one important thing. And yes, third thing, as Gautam very well said, not to be afraid of failures. Not all days are good. There will be some instances where you will meet with failures. So yeah, embrace it and be brave enough to try again and be succeed. And lastly, sometimes you need to grab your opportunity as it comes. There will be some people are very excited and to see new opportunities, and some people will be a bit hesitant. But yeah, you have to take your chance, grab certain opportunities, and work on it. So these are some of the things and life lessons which I have learned. And of course, yeah, lastly, one other thing which I would mention is you also need to say no at times. Even if it's your co-workers or your managers, make sure that if something is impossible, have your opinion, have your say, and say that something is not possible, it is not possible. That really helps, trust me.
Great. Actually, a great learning. You must learn to say no at times too. That's also very much required. I can see, and every one of us can feel that this calamity of pandemic has been tough for the economy as well. So, Mr. Sabul, if I can have your views on that aspect of it as well.
Yes, ma'am. As my friends have already shared what failures and learnings in a corporate world is, I would want to talk more about personal life things. I think when it comes to failure is my best friend, you can say. As Gopal would remember, I failed 3 times to clear IRMA. I gave 3 written exams. I've cleared 3 times, but I couldn't clear the interviews. And the last one was after joining IIM also. So although we have dreams, we have aims, but it's not necessary that we get it. So we'll have to accept what we get. Second, I am from a business family. My entire education was to do my own business. But somehow it happened that after I graduated from IIM, my plans I was not even able to execute my plans because the platform which I was looking at got destroyed. I was looking at my own plantation business, and in the 2 years of IIM, the area got infested with Maoist. So we had to shelve our plans. So and somehow something difficult happened in my father's business also, which I was supposed to take over, and I was forced into service. Again, you had certain plans, maybe thinking of becoming Dhirubhai Ambani, and then you suddenly figure out that you are a simple executive in a company. So we have to aim big, but at the same time learn to accept something little lower than that also, and then again start a journey for a height which might not be as good, but at least good enough to have a good life. One thing which I learned also was not to keep all your eggs in one basket. This is a failure which I understood from my father. He was into business and he invested everything into the business. So when the business went off, everything went off. So in personal life, have savings in or maybe some alternate source of income. Try to have one, so that in case you lose your job or something like that happens, you are able to sustain through the difficult period. I'll talk about it, my views on this in a later this thing. So, and again, as Gopal said, selling mutual funds. I also got involved into selling mutual fund. Though in the interview level, I was told that I will be giving tax advisory. So, being a chartered accountant, I was excited to give tax advisory. But then it was like selling mutual funds in the name of tax advisory. So again, I had to leave that job also. So enjoy. If you enjoy certain thing, you have to figure out which direction of business you enjoy. If you enjoy selling, you will be enjoying selling. If you enjoy finance, you will enjoy finance. Somebody may be good at marketing. He's into brand building, brand promotions. So you have to take that career in which you enjoy. You can enjoy and you can work, because if things which you don't enjoy, you will not be able to deliver on that. As it happened with me and Gopal, that we were not enjoying selling mutual funds, so we had to quit that job and get into something different. And last thing is that, as it is said that, as humans, we have a tendency to, pass on the buck of the failure to somebody else. At the same time, in our life, failures will come not just because of us, because of some environments also, like COVID. In case of COVID, people have lost jobs, in which they had no role to play. So we have to have a very balanced, view on our failures. We should not get, too much bogged down about it. Neither we should be, in a habit of passing on to somebody else's shoulder. We should analyze the failure and then learn from it. That what are the mistakes we have done. And life is difficult. In life, we at times have to choose failure. In the sense that it happened with me that I was working with national level companies and going very fast, and suddenly something happened in the family, and I chose to work with the local companies, which halted my growth. So it's like sort of failure in terms of my abilities to grow. But then you choose it because there are certain external factors which play in life. So as I said, failure is my best friend. So it keeps happening every 2-3 years. Something or the other happens in life, and you have to stand up again. I think that's all. I can somebody else can take the baton now.
Yeah, I think views of Ms. Sarbani are the most awaited ones.
So I think everyone has covered almost every aspect. Just wanted to kind of share. I want to pick just one point from Gopal's presentation, which is about setting timelines. So setting your own timelines. My suggestion would be to everyone, because that is something which I also did, was that I had kind of thought of a certain time plan, and everyone should have a plan. But please, you will have your own, time plan, and don't compare it with anyone. So you will have your batchmates, maybe your peer, everyone to compare with. And what I would really suggest to everyone is that, while you have a plan, it should be your own plan, and it shouldn't be something which is like similar to your, because everyone will have their own journey and at their own pace. And you may, at a certain point in time, you may start late, or you may be a late bloomer. So the point is that keep that in mind. So it is not like, everyone will be on the same pace. So one is that when it comes to my own failure, I'll of course say there are two things which I kind of learned, and I'm still learning. I don't think so I found a solution to that. I'm trying to. One is like Gopal, I wanted to actually have a academic kind of, additional, I wanted to do some additional course, and I'm still having conversations now with Gopal that what to do and how to go about it. So it's never late. I wanted to have a doctor when I'm like in my 30s, but that didn't happen. I'm like going to touch 40, and I'm still, I haven't reached that. But it doesn't mean that, there aren't. So you kind of, concentrate on the success. And the point is also that you try to find out solutions. It's never late. The second thing is that, yes, it happened at my workplace. I felt that I deserved a promotion, and I lost out on that. What did I do? What Satish said, that I had a very open kind of a channel. I had a very seamless communication channel that I had opened up with my manager. So I went and had a conversation with her that, why was it, and, what was the reason. So the point is that if there is a problem, you don't go for conflict, but try to at least address it then and there. Try to find out what are the reasons. And believe me, I had that conversation, and I realized that, yes, there might be certain aspects I need to improve on. And surprisingly, within 6 months, that was also corrected. So I realized that, if you communicate and if you talk it out, a lot of times these helps. So if I would have, been really upset, and I would have sat back at my desk and really cribbed, and it would have affected my work, maybe I would have quit. No, that didn't happen, because I went and I spoke. I kind of tried to see what are the areas I need to improve, and it got resolved within 6 months. So that was a huge lesson for me. And I think it's easier said than done. I completely understand this, but I actually, you know, I went through that experience, so I can share that yes, it is possible. It can, you know, kind of help you. So
Absolutely. I think we have a question from a student here. Ms. Riddhi Khanna wants to ask the panel the questions.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
Riddhi?
what I was going to suggest, that you know we have come to the end of first session. So in case any of the students, we welcome the questions. We'll have 5 minutes for the question answer session. Please go on with your questions. Yes, Riddhi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, my question is like, as you have said that never give up and the failures are there. So, as we all are freshers, I'm from semester 1, and we all are in a hurry to complete the course and get to a job. Sometimes we take wrong steps or bad steps for us, and at the end, we are leaving the jobs, or we are going in depression, or we are thinking that we cannot do anything. So, there are some points to keep in mind for us.
Anyone wants to go, or I can jump the gun and speak something?
Looks like you were ready to go.
I mean, I've just heard the question, so I mean, it's coming on the next slide. Riddhi, if you can wait for 2 minutes, it's there on the slide as to how to deal with. But I can answer your first question. You know, don't be afraid of taking a wrong step. कोई कदम गलत नहीं होता है. कोई भी if you're taking a step, I mean, if you don't fail, you have never learned anything. I mean, let me quote an example from Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers. You know, in the Royal Australian Air Force, when they select Marines, the best of the best cadets, the one thing that they want to see is not a perfect CV, is they want to see how many times have you failed. And the reason that RAF does this year on year is to see कि क्यों गलती नहीं हुई है. अगर कोई गलती नहीं हुई है, कोई गलत कदम नहीं उठाया है, कोई रॉन्ग स्टेप नहीं लिया है, तो इसका मतलब इस इंसान ने, इस आदमी ने, इस औरत ने कुछ सीखा ही नहीं है लाइफ में. तो मेरी आपसे गुजारिश यही है कि गलत कदम उठाइए, क्योंकि the important thing that we have been, you know, we have been brainstormed, we have been taught in this way that we should not fail. And to be honest, I'm there. All my friends here, those who are there, you know, we all came from lower middle class families. We were taught that, you know, you got to, you have to pass everything, you have to be in the top 5 percentile. I think that's okay, that's fine, but I think it's important when you are taking, I mean, academics mein thoda bahut chalta hai, but when you are in life, I would say galat kadam uthaiye. I mean, it should not, there is nothing here. When we teach students at Newcastle, we say that, you know, there is no right or wrong answer. कोई भी क्वेश्चन का गलत या सही जवाब नहीं है. आपने जो जवाब देना है वो आपके लिए सही है, किसी और के लिए गलत हो सकता है. गौरव साबू ने बहुत ही अच्छी बात बोली थी यहाँ पे कि मतलब अपने हिसाब से ढलना है. भाई मुझे वो जवाब सही लग रहा है तो सही है वो. You know, have that confidence in you. I think that's important. So but for the second part of, you know, how would you deal with anxieties and stuff, there's a second slide coming. I'll just pass on to others if someone wants to say something on this.
So actually the thing is, we take the wrong step, and it comes up, and the parents are always like, we have told you to do this, you did this, and that all comes in the mind after that. Because
So I think, you know, what is very important before you do something, you try to ask yourself the question, why you want to do it, right? There must be a reason. You know,
yes,
there's a material gain, you want to get an opportunity, you want to get connected to someone. So ask yourself, like, you know, why it's important for me? Why do I want to do this? And if I do it successfully, what do I gain? If I don't do it successfully, then what do I lose or what do I learn, right? I would rather focus on what do I learn. Because once you're very clear with your learning objective and why you want to make the decision, why it is important for you, I think you'll have a lot more thought clarity. And as I say it, like, then you are already in your fundamental plan itself, have a plan B and plan C ready. That, okay, you know, if it didn't work out for me, what do I do next? And if second plan also doesn't work out, what's going to be my third plan? So have certain, you know, plans ready for you. And then when your parents or someone is asking, you can always say, you know, the reason I wanted to do it is because I wanted to learn this, I wanted to try this, I wanted to experience this. And if I've not been successful, I didn't lose my life, I didn't lose everything, I still have many other things to do. So keep this as a learning milestones for life, then, you know, you'll be not stressed. But if you say like, oh yeah, I have to basically have it, you know, like there is no way I can fail on it, then you put unnecessary pressure on yourself, which may not be necessary.
Auric, I still remember one example. There was a brilliant movie that came during our time. I don't know how many of you have seen Three Idiots. That's a movie
Yes, sir.
that I kind of, give as an example to a lot of people. And there is one particular scene which I like very much. Is the scene wherein this guy, I think Madhavan, goes to his father and says, I want to pursue photography. And he says, Kapoor साहब क्या कहेंगे? He says, यार कपूर साहब ने नहीं पढ़ा मुझे बड़ा किया यार, आपने बड़ा किया है. Have this ability to question your things. And as Gautam rightly pointed out, first reason with अपने आप से बात करके देख लो कि ये मैं जो कर रही हूँ सही कर रही हूँ नहीं कर रही हूँ, और सक्सेस के क्या चांसेस है. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, फेलियर हो गया तो हो गया, लेकिन सक्सेस के क्या चांसेस है. एंड with that approach, go to your parents. कपूर साहब क्या कहेंगे यार, कोई मुझे कोई पड़ी नहीं है, कपूर साहब ने क्या कहा या किसी और ने क्या कहा, अय्यर साहब ने कहा, मुझे कोई पड़ी नहीं है. I want to see what am I going to be successful, and have this reasoning with I have this conversation with my parents a lot of times. When I wanted to do my PhD, my parents said कि अच्छी नौकरी छोड़ के चला जाएगा PhD करने, कुछ पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, बट मुझे वो करना है. That is what I want to do. And if you are convinced, if you have the conviction, and as Gautam rightly mentioned, have a plan B always. I came with my life savings. I had 1 year of savings. I didn't know what is going to happen. If I was a self-funded PhD student, I didn't know what was going to happen. And if I fail, that means I'm going to come back to India, and that never happened, thanks to my wife who came up, who stepped up, and I got scholarships and stuff. But यार कदम तो लो, अगर कदम ही नहीं लोगे तो क्या पता चलेगा.
Yes, sir.
अगर आपने जर्नी ही नहीं की है तो क्या भटकोगे यार. जो घर से निकला है वही भटकेगा ना, जो घर से निकला ही नहीं वो भटकेगा क्या. तो
So
कदम
true.
रास्ते में कदम लो आप, बाकी तो देखी जाएगी जो होगी.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
But are there any questions, or can we move on to but I'm happy if Satish, Sharbani, or Gaurav wants to share something on this question. It's a good question on wrong steps.
The only thing I want to share is having this clarity of thought, and like Gautam said, having a plan. That really helps, And it also reminds me, there was one professor who used to tell us when I was in my undergraduation, no decision is perfect. He used to repeat it all through the year. And at that time, I used to wonder, what is this guy saying? Then it came to me after, a few years later that what was the meaning of that? So like it or not, messing up will be there. But then, be brave enough to stand up and try again. And also, having this clarity of what you want to achieve, and, having some good reasons behind it. And then, you can go back to your parents and explain to them, and they will also definitely understand it. And, take it and, look it as an opportunity. Like when the same scenarios will come when you're working also, you will have a plan. Your manager or your co-workers will have a different plan. So you need to convince them. So, if your plans and preparations are good, then that's an opportunity to, convince them and speak to them, and take it in that way.
Great thought. I think today we have been, bundled with so many great thoughts. Seriously, thanks to you people. Thanks to everyone that you have been sharing your experience and making us learn. So I think we can move to the second part of it, where building resilience during the pandemic is what was the point of discussion was. So if you can just proceed on that aspect as well.
Right. So we move on to the second part. I'm just again going to take the liberty of sharing my screen. Sorry, I have to do this because I just need those slides. So I think this question had come in, as to how do we be resilient during pandemic, and that's a question that's being actually discussed across the West as well. I mean, these are very simple points that and some of them have been already been touched about. That is, be straightforward in communication. Learn to relax. But I think it's very important to have 3 or 4 things which are very important. One is learn to relax. We as an Indian community, we don't learn to relax. जब देखो हमें काम करना है, we always think about work and work. I think that's very important, that you learn to relax. Don't shy away from having new skills. I was very impressed when a lot of people started sharing their skills and what they have learned. I think FMS actually put up a LinkedIn poster saying that what new skills have people gained during this pandemic. That's brilliant. Make time for family and friends. Have a good balance in your life. A work-life balance. I started learning the importance of finding a life balance in terms of, I started running marathons, I started doing cycling and stuff. So have a life balance. That's very imperative. And learn to distract yourself. Start telling that I'm going to forgive myself if I'm failed. And we have been speaking this session on failure. I would say that learn to distract. अगर कुछ हो गया, गलती हो गई, ठीक है यार, कोई बात नहीं, हम फेल हो गए, but how do you forgive yourself? That's also important. Get away from that. And in that context, I wanted to share something with you. Recently I was interviewed for a very senior position in one of the assessment firms here in the UK. And what I realized was that, I made it into the top 5 percentile and I was rejected in the interview, and I kept thinking about it for quite a long time. And I said that, why am I failing? And I spoke with my mentor, and he said that, Gopal, this is the gap in your presentation. I think I started distracting myself after that period of time. I started distracting myself from things, and then when I went to my mentor, I got those answers. So it's basically, it's important to forgive yourself. It's fine, and build a support network of people, those who are going to support you in your endeavor. There would be people, those who would kind of try to pull your leg, aapki tang kheenchenge, but surround yourself with people, those who help you, support you. It is very important to have people, those who are critical. I'm not saying that build yourself with sycophants, but what I'm trying to say is, at the times of adversity, try and build your network in such a way that people motivate you, so that you can go ahead. So with this, I kind of open the session to the other panelists as well, those who want to talk about how to build resilience during the pandemic. Hello?
Yeah, I think we can have we can start with Mr. Sabu here. Your views on the same, sir.
Yeah, to start with, when we talk about COVID and its effect, and then the stress, I think the students who are currently being part of this session, they are the lucky ones that they are not out in the market, and hopefully by the time they are in the market, things will improve. However, my point is a bit, I would extend it further. See, if you look at the timelines from the time we graduated, we had this dot-com bubble in 2003. Then we had this Lehman crisis in 2008. 2014, we had this 13-14, we had this coal scam, telecom scam. Then last year, 2019, suddenly Jio came into picture, and lot of jobs were lost in telecom, and all this stuff. 2020 is COVID. So what I think is that we'll always face this problem, this kind of times, every 3, 4, 5, 7 years. So we have to build ourselves and develop ourselves in such a fashion that we sail through all those times. Now I have again I'll have put into 2 parts. Like, for the students currently, what they can do, what I think they can do is, first upgrade your skills for your dream job. If you have thought of yeah, I want to go into this sector, or I want to have this kind of a job, then if possible, upgrade your skills for that job, so that when you are on the interview, your skills, the extra additional skills help you. Secondly, if possible, try to get focused on the job which supports your graduation, your core skills, because it will help you to grow fast. Because a better understanding of the the product. Like say Gautam is into packing technology, so he has continued in his core, and he is now successful. And I have seen people who are, well, we had a batchmate, who was a dairy technologist and started selling Coca-Cola, and then went into teaching, and he got screwed his career basically. So stick to your core if possible. And there are people who want to change their the domain also. Then the case is different. Second, target companies where you want to work. Now, COVID has made this very easy for you people to decide which companies to work. Companies which have fired people, they have not taken care of people, are not the companies to work in the long run. Companies which have taken care of their people are the companies to be with them, whether they pay you 10% less. Because the stress of losing the job in a difficult time is far more costly than not earning say that 10% extra. Although at the same time you can say that the companies who have fired will hire also. So for the short run, they may be the companies to look at, because they will have vacancies. Good companies might not have those vacancies, but to make your life shock proof, you need to target those companies which have taken care of their employees decently in this times. I would not say they have given promotion or hike. At least they have not resorted to job cuts and minimal pay cuts depending upon the industry they are. Now, this will help us to figure out good companies, target those companies, skill yourself for your target companies, and try to get into those companies. It's not necessarily that you will get your first job into that company. You may take 2-3 jumps to get into those companies, but you have to target 2-3 companies for your long-term this thing. I have a cousin who has joined Siemens, and he says he's a chartered accountant. Okay. So he said, brother, I will not leave this company anytime. I am so satisfied with the HR policies, the way they conduct in the office. I'm very happy. Whatever growth they have, I'll take that 10-15% growth and I'll stick to this company. So, getting into a good company is something which will make you shockproof in your life. Now, those who are out in the market, or maybe for preparing for the next, situations like this. Well, as a finance guy, I would, have certain, very core finance things to say, that have 6 months of expenditure, monthly expenditure in a fixed deposit or a savings account separately. Don't use that funds for any other thing. Keep it there all through your life, because being in private job, you can lose your job any day. So you need at least 4, 5, 6 months to get another job. As you grow higher in the hierarchy, that jobs will be much more difficult to come. Have medical insurances in place, because in these situations, in these kind of health pandemics, the biggest bill is the health bill. I have known people who have had to pay 15 lakhs, 20 lakh rupees to get treated, and still they lost their family members. So specifically, get your older generation insured. Third is, live a life which is less based on EMIs, because in case there is any financial issues, any job losses, any difficulty, the first thing which bothers everyone is the EMIs. So the less leveraged you are. See, today also, in the finance, people are looking at companies which are debt free. Similarly, try to keep yourself debt free in your life. I have faced a lot of problems in my first shock of life. I was under huge debts, but in the next shocks, I had tried to reduce my debts, and today I am debt free. I don't take anything on EMI. So I am, I'm relaxed in the sense that I don't owe anybody. I can sleep with a lot of comfort in my life. So these are my, suggestions to, have a good financial practice in your life. Don't go overboard. Like you have a long life to live, and it will always have ups and downs. Nobody can avoid it. Some will have less, some will have more. And, interact with people, build a network of friends who don't talk about money every time. Those who talk about life, happiness. Have these kind of people around, And adding to that answer to that lady question, if you think your parents are educated, experienced, capable, or if you don't have your parents that much capable, if you have any relative, any friend, please do consult with them before taking up any new assignment, any new job, to have a 360-degree review as to what can go right and what can go wrong. Because if they're offended and they don't turn up to be a support once you fail, life will be much more difficult. You need people to support you, and and mostly people who don't have somebody to emotionally support them, are the people who commit something with their life. This is what my views are. Thank you.
Great thoughts. Seriously applaudable. Mr. Satish, if you can have your views on the same.
Yeah, so what I would emphasize here is, 2-3 points. One is, unload the negative thoughts in this strange period we are going through. And if possible, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is just being in the present and, trying to be, an observer-like thing to see, okay, what's happening. That really helps. And that's something which we are seeing a lot being done here in companies in UK, making people aware of their, mental health and things like, okay, what you need to do. Also, it's very easy to, neglect our health when we are, kind of, okay, we want to do some projects done or things like that. You work hard and then you don't eat well or sleep well and things like that, like Gopal has covered in his speech. So it's very important that, those aspects, the mindfulness, health aspect has been taken care of. Then secondly, when as a fresher, it's a, think of it as an opportunity to do some additional courses. Now we have a lot of opportunities. There are online learning, things like Coursera or LinkedIn Learners or edX, where you can do quite a lot of courses. Whatever stream, whatever domain you want, do certain courses or online workshops. And also there are some universities you kind of gives you, internships or mini MBAs or certifications that can really help in terms of, when you are looking for an employment. And also the third thing is that having some genuine connections, not only some LinkedIn network connects, having some genuine connections and speaking to them, trying to know more about the industries. And what we are seeing is, changes in the technology is happening so fast that certain things which we used to do it in 3-4 years back, it's not the way we are doing it now. For example, the way we are currently doing, we never used Zoom maybe 2 years back or Skype, but it's a common thing which we are using. Most of my day I spend on Skype or Microsoft Teams or something, some platform. So, and the pace of this change is also happening quite fast. It's increasing, and there is some studies say that next 5 years, some of the things which we are, almost half of the things what we currently do will not longer be done. And it's a good possibility that by the time in 10-15 years or before we retire, it's very much possible that your colleague sitting next to you will be a robot. So appreciate that and try to understand about the industry trends, where things are going. And yeah, that really helps in terms of your job hunt or when you're going to a new role. Yeah, so those are some of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, great. Great thoughts again. Can we have Mr. Gautam's view about the same?
Sure. So I think the personal, tips are the first one. And when the times are uncertain and the times are difficult, I think the most important thing is your family, your friend, and is your health. So make sure you have them in right, condition, because I think your family is the biggest support that you have. So whatever difficult time you're going through, if you have your family support, you can surely pass through that. And why friends are important, because if you have good like-minded friends, you probably have common information sharing, and collective knowledge is always more powerful than individual knowledge. So having friends that have the knowledge of what's happening, that can give you the right guidance are really, really critical. And why health? Because if you are in a good health, whatever tough situation you are going through, you can survive that. So really take care of your health, and doing a bit of exercise every day, doing a bit of meditation every day helps. Eat good things. Don't drink too much. I know how college lives could be. So having things under control that keeps your health in good condition is really, really important. Now, if you look at basically the external world, because a lot of things are not under our control, and the world will continue to be VUCA, right? So VUCA means volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So how do you deal with it, right? Because you need to really have a plan, because not necessarily you have something happening that's beyond our force, we cannot do anything, right? We can always plan for that uncertainty. So if you look at volatility, like for you to deal with volatility, it's really, really important that you anticipate what's coming. But how do you anticipate what's coming, right? So it's really, really important that you try to study the trends on the area of interest, so the industry that you want to grow and shine, right? You want to be connected to the people that are good at it, because then you get the knowledge that's going to be helpful in envisioning what's coming. And you enroll yourself from many good reports that are available. The beauty of this COVID has also proven that if you cannot go to the best of the school can come to you. So take advantage of that, right? You can join the free webinars, you read the Harvard Business Review, you read the McKinsey reports, you read basically the report that Nielsen and other publish in your industry. So you're very well informed. And that's going to help you understand why and how you can manage the volatility in your industry. Then comes uncertainty, right? Uncertainty comes if you don't understand the changes in technology. I think Satish, you mentioned that, right? Maybe in 10 years time, you're sitting next to a robot and that's your colleague, and that's what it's going to happen probably, right? So how do you understand the industry changes that's happening in your specific area that you have interested in, how the technologies are changing, who the competitors are, what those competitors are doing? Because once you understand that, once you understand what the policy transformations and reforms happening, Sharwani may have a lot of experience in that, because how the policy transformation can change the industry. So it's very important to have a knowledge on that. And these are the things today you can do, sitting at home and, working on your laptop or iPad. The third is complexity, right? So we can deal with complexities if we know what are the key priorities. For that, you need to really, really set and align your priorities very well. And you know what is good enough. Now, may not be able to deliver on all the priorities, but out of the 10 priorities that your management or you yourself will align, what if I'm good enough to deliver on 5 priorities? Can I move on to the next one, right? So really, really get clear on the priorities. And that will help you to simplify the task that you have in hand. If you yourself make your list too complex, you may not be able to deliver on any. But if you know that what is good enough, and out of the 10, if I can deliver these 5, which are the critical priorities, then your task at hand becomes simple. You can plan for the thing. The fourth one is ambiguity, right? So ambiguity is basically, something that you have to face that you don't know how to face. And this is where your mental agility comes in. And I have seen this throughout my last 21 years in professional industry, that you can hire from MIT, you can hire from the best universities, from Harvard, from Tsinghua, IIT, anywhere. But the person who has the ability to embrace change with agility, with a learning mindset, are way more successful than those pedigrees from the top universities. So I always believe those people are going to be successful who are more agile, to embrace the change, welcome the change, take the learning opportunity and move on. And if you have that flexibility, you will actually enable the change for others. And in any organization, when you join, your leadership wants to bring change, always. It's a part of the process. But oftentimes there are many people that come with a lot of great excuse, and I call it analysis paralysis, saying why I can't do something that we are not supposed to be doing. And there are some people who will come who will say, oh, wow, this looks like something new. I have not done this before. Let me try. And these are the people that management loves, because they're the change agents. And the people that can embrace change with this, welcoming attitude are the one that can really deal with the ambiguity a lot better. So I suggest the world will continue to be VUCA. So volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So prepare yourself. It's all in your mindset. If you can manage it well, I think you can pass through any complex phases. And pandemic is just one of the passing phase. I think Sabu mentioned it very well with some clear milestones that in last 20 years that we have joined industry, how many of these, not pandemic, but global critical complex situation that we have all dealt through and we survived. So again, this is just my simple tips for you guys.
Great. I must say, I must applaud for the same. I mean, today, we have been, bundled with so many brainstorming thoughts and thought-provoking tips that you people have given us. I think, Mr. Brani, would you like to give a last comment to it? I know I've taken lots and lots of your time. I think you'll have to unmute yourself first.
Yeah, it's been a learning experience for me as well, and I'm taking up all the points which my co-panelists are kind of sharing with me. So I would like to start with first, there's a myth that, especially to the students here, that these 2 years are the most important year of your life. So please don't take that pressure on you. Every year will feel like the most important year of your career. Believe me, now I've been like 17 years into my professional life, and right now I feel that it's my most important year. So there's no pressure. It is not the most important. Yes, it is very, very important, but it's not the important time of your life that that's like a make or a break situation. It's not that. This is a very important year for you to make lifelong friends and relationships. That's what I've learned, that I carried with me a lot of this was an opportunity for me to have great network of friends and lifelong memories for me. So, look at the positive side. Now, coming back to your the economy, it's on a recovery mode, by the way. So all is not, really bad. Today only in the news, we got to know that there's been a 1 lakh crore GST recovery by the government, which is like amazing. There are companies which are coming back and investing in India. Nestle has promised that they are going to make 2,600 crores investment in the next 2 to 3 years. Similarly, ICICI Bank, today in the papers, we got to know that they have kind of made the highest profits in this quarter. So it's in a recovery phase. So as Sabu said that, you're lucky that you're right now not in the job market, but in the next 3-4 couple of months time, you'll be better placed. Also our placement experience, as Gautam mentioned, Sabu mentioned, that, when we were getting placed, I'll be open here that many of us didn't get placed from IIRM. And there were just a handful of us who got placed through the campus placement. Plus we dealt with recession. There were other complexities in the industries that happened. But if you look back now, almost all of us are settled and all of us are placed. So it's not like, if you can't make up, go through the placement, or you are not getting a job now, so it's like, it's all over. No, it's nothing like that. You will get placed somewhere or the other. There's the startup economy, which is like a very happening kind of a situation in India. There are startups. You have a booming e-commerce situation in the country. There's IT is doing great. And the development sector has grown in the country in leaps and bounds. So there are, areas and there are sectors which are growing in the country. I would say that, focus on those sectors if possible. Also, while waiting for the jobs, I don't want to reiterate, but yes, it is very, very important. Upgrade yourself while you are, looking out for your job. You have these 3-4 months gap, and when we kind of interview people and we see that there has been a 3 or a 4 month kind of a gap period, we check with them that what you've done in those months. So it's good if you can, say that, you've been doing courses or you've been upgrading yourself. The second is, very, very important piece, which as a manager, I can kind of share with all of you, is go for internships. If you don't, also get a full-time placement anywhere, internships are always open in very many companies. So it builds on your experience. For example, within CII, the trend that I'm seeing is that while there is a hiring freeze going on, we are open to interns. So we are encouraging, and we are seeing a lot of good graduates from international universities who are open to, engaging and getting themselves into the organization and coming here and getting internships. So it kind of builds on your own CV. So, and also after 9 months or a year, you kind of, get transferred as a full-time employee also in the organization. So, never ever kind of let go of these internship opportunities, especially for the rural management graduates here, because I was myself from the rural management batch, so I have a kind of a soft corner for all of you. What I would also suggest is that there are lots of fellowships on offer now. During our time, there were just a handful. There was Kapat, which was offering this YP fellowship, which I took. But now there are like very many fellowship opportunities. There are around 18 popular fellowships that I can kind of count on. There's Acumen Regional Fellows, Gandhi Fellowship, Teach for India, India Fellow Program, Young India Fellowship. There's an SBI Youth for India. There's a Chief Minister Fellowship, which happens for people who want to work in Maharashtra government. So there are very many fellowship programs, which kind of, this is meant for especially students who want to kind of get into the development sector. So all in all, there are opportunities. You need to look out for them. Also, what I want to add on is that, you need to have a very, very strong work ethic and work really hard once you get into any organization. While people look for intelligent and smart people, but they also, what counts most is diligence and sincerity. That's what is the most important. My co-panelists sitting here today, they were the brightest of the lot. But what I also remember is that they were the most sincere and the most dedicated and diligent people I'd met. So it matters a lot. I want to also kind of touch into the gender lens a bit, given that I'm the only women panelist here. So I would like to especially now kind of have a dialogue with the girls here. Number one, I feel that you're in the best phase of your life right now. When we started 17 years back, I remember when there were campus placements happening, we used to see these advertisements which would be on the notice board that only boys apply. There were sales positions, marketing positions, which were not even open to girls. So now companies have become really conscious. There's an equal opportunity policy in place, which every company is mandated to kind of, go through. And also they have targets nowadays that they need to employ a certain percentage. So very many companies have got their policies in place that they have to employ a certain percentage of women within their workforce. So, in that sense, I would say that, and the competition isn't that stiff yet for the girls. So, look out for companies where there are diversity and inclusion practices, or there are departments on diversity and inclusion. So you can identify these companies and apply there. That can help you. The second is that there are different networking platforms for working women. CII has an Indian Women Network, which is not only meant for professional women, but also for students. And it's a great platform where you kind of can identify mentors for you as well. So for example, Gopal was continuously talking about mentors. It is very important. So try to identify mentors here. And how do you identify your mentors is, one is that work environment where you're working, you can identify someone there, or you meet someone through networking platforms like LinkedIn or, Facebooks. The third, as I said, is that, get into these networking platforms like IWN, the Indian Women Network, or Buzz. There are very many. I mean, Google it, I'm sure you will find many more. Also for the women, my advice to you would be that, your resilience, since we're talking about resilience, it's not just COVID, your resilience test will be from year 3 of your career to year 10 of your career, which is you will be your age bracket will be somewhere between 25 to 35 years old. That's your test of resilience. And here I would like to, give you a small anecdote. One of my batchmates, she got married to another batchmate of ours. And after 2 years, she had a baby boy. And when the baby was 1.5-year-old, the husband said that he has got a posting, and they were in Delhi, and she was working. She had a very, she was placed at a very good NGO, very reputed NGO. And the husband was in the banking sector, and he got transferred to Ludhiana. So what did they do? She didn't pack her bags and go shift with him to Ludhiana. He went to Ludhiana, he got settled. She was here in Delhi all alone, all by herself. She kept a safety network around her. So what Gautam and Gaurav and Gopal, everyone was saying that she had formed a safety network here, an informal network in Delhi, and she settled in Delhi and all by herself. She brought in a full-time maid who took care of the child, and she carried on with her work. At no point in time did she, even think of leaving or compromising on her job. And it was a full-time job. After a couple of years, the boy finally came back to Delhi, and he had to kind of get a job, and he came back and he settled with her. And both of them are making waves in the sector that they are doing right now. The lady right now, she's the global head corporate communications in one of the biggest auto component sector in India. She's Trina Mitra. So, and the husband I was talking about is Pankaj. Both are in Delhi right now. But that's the spirit. So that's the resilience I'm talking about. You have to be strong at a certain point in time. There will be a time when you will have to choose what to do, where to do. And believe me, we had some of the brightest girls in our batch. And it was a bit disheartening for me that now when I look back, I see most of them have given up their careers. Many of them have gone there, gone the family way, or kind of making homes, which is great, I completely respect that. But I won't be expecting this now from this batch. It's been 17 years. I think girls are much more empowered, smarter, much more tough. IRM makes tough girls, I feel. So I hope that you kind of, and even if you kind of move on to if you plan that, no, you need to give importance to your family, do something which kind of makes you productive. Your husband and your child are there, yes, but they shouldn't be your whole and soul and your world. I must give, for example, there's Parul Sabu. Gaurav is here, his wife. I know that Parul made use of her 2 years work because she's right now volunteering. She's empowering 10,000. She's empowered 10,000 or 1,000 odd women in the grassroots. And she's volunteering. So either you volunteer or you try to, kind of upgrade yourself in terms of going for courses. But please, you've invested 2 years of your life here. Your parents have invested their resources on you. So when you're deciding what you're going to do in your life, just think back, think 10 years from now. There will be very many sacrifices you need to make, but just you have to work hard, be very sincere. And as a manager, I must say that when it comes to employing and hiring within your team, we don't look at male or female. While there is, yes, we completely respect when there are women and there are men, but you are an employee at the end of the day. So you have to work as hard as your male counterparts here. And I've had instances where I had to fire a lady because she would insist on going back home every day at 5 o'clock because she had to make dinner. So you can take that as an organization for 6 months a year, but not beyond that. So I said I would rather hire a husband for whom who would come home late because he was giving priority to his work. So my point is that you have to give in a lot, be strong, be tough. And there's a whole lot of opportunities for the women now. So, make use of that, leverage that. That's all from my side. Sorry.
Great thought. I mean, I think we are clearing it up and, coming up with a very great thought and a great learning for all the women here. And certainly, I think I've already taken much of your time. I know you have a very busy schedule and we have already exceeded the time. Any last comment or any questions that a student would like to ask?
I've put on the learnings on the chat forum.
Absolutely.
I would want to just make one line statement, to all the students who are in the institute right now. See, we compete as students to, get higher grades, higher marks, outwit the other colleague or the co-student. But in your institute, please collaborate. Don't compete. Make 300 contacts. 100 seniors, 100 batchmates, 100 juniors. Make use of this 2 years.
Not compete, deal with complexity, and make use of the opportunity. These are some of the key messages that we have for everyone. We'll just open the session for a quick question answer round in case if anyone has. Otherwise, Dr. Tarjani can, conclude the session, and the learnings are there on the chat forum for everyone to, visualize.
Komal has raised her hand. Yes, Komal, you can go ahead with your question, please. Yes, Komal, can we have your question, please?
She's on mute. You probably need to unmute her.
I have given a permission to unmute themselves. They would like to. But seriously, I must say, and I must appreciate that each one of you have given the best of the experiences, and I think the student will be getting the most of the benefit out of it. And I must thank Dr. Gopal for putting everything in the chat box as well. Mr. Rajesh is here. I think, sir, if you can please switch on your camera as well. Sir has been also an alumni, and I'm really very glad that he has joined us. And I must share this also, that while I was sharing this particular screenshot of the alumni is joining us for this rendezvous, I got many calls and many messages from the different alumni. Mr. Rajesh has been another alumni of IRM. Yes, you can share your experience and your views on the same.
So I don't have any question, okay? Rather, I have a request to make, okay? So I passed out in 2006. So even after 14 years, I never knew that we have got such gems as our seniors. So today's session was very educative. So why don't we have something where we know, because every year we collect data, the college collects data. So I'm sorry because I speak very upfront. Why don't we have a system that the pass outs or the current batch has, you please remove the phone numbers, okay? But at least alumni, you have a user ID password so that it doesn't get misused. But we know that we have got such people. Like recently, we have launched our own brand in one of the startup where I'm working currently. So I was struggling a lot with packaging material. So I never knew that somebody from our alumni is in such senior position. I would have loved to contact and take or use the expertise. So why don't you come up with something which can help us what you call the pass outs as well as the current batch?
Certainly, we are as a team, we are working on the same, and probably in the near future, you'll be getting the same as well.
I hope so, because we have been hearing it since 2006.
But this time I'm trying, and it will be with your support only.
Okay, ठीक है. Thanks a lot.
Any other questions or any other concluding remarks?
Hi, this is Arvind here.
Yeah, Arvind, go on, please.
Hey, one Gopal, good to see you again. It's been a while, and thank you everyone for your words, for your journey. I think a couple of areas that I think most of you touched, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but what was important was the idea of reskilling Tsunami. That's right at the edge. Unless you are skilling yourself and reskilling yourself for the future, it's going to be that difficult. And importantly, like Gautam also mentioned, either you pivot, which is fail early, fail fast, and once you've found your route to success, persevere. So that pivot versus persevere is something that we will have to keep in mind at all point in time. And I wish everybody here, all the students and everybody who's participated, a beautiful life ahead. And thank you so much, Sarvini, Satish, Gaurav, Gautam, Gopal, for being here, helping us.
Thank you.
So once again, I must thank each of the panelists, starting from Dr. Gopal, who actually initiated all this, and that needs a special mention and a special thanks to him. I must thank Mr. Sabu, Mr. Satish Kumbar, Mr. Gautam Bhattacharya ji, and yes, you have raised the bar again, Ms. Sarvani, for that purpose. Thank you once again, taking your time out. Thank you once again, and I hope to be in touch and have more of such live sessions.
So much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
I would request the students to stay back, please.